Hey, it's Jay here coming to you from my shop. Today I'm going to talk about my workbench. I built it about 20 years ago and it needed some casters. So that's what this video is going to be about for the most part, is making it mobile. This bench is a Bally block top that's 1.5 inches thick. I think maybe it's thicker than that, 2 inches thick. 5 foot long. It's got 2 Lee Valley vices on it and a hickory base. And the hickory base, I believe, was based on a Chris Schwarz design just before he came out with his Workbench book that I used. In his Workbench book he said he didn't like, but it's worked really well for me, so I'm happy with it. Yeah, the issue was it was not mobile because it's got such a thick top. Heavy vices, heavy base. It weighs probably over 200 pounds, maybe closer to 250. You'll see me trying to move it around, and it needed some casters. I really don't want the type of casters that stick out to the side and you step on a pedal to use them. Both Rockler and Woodcraft sell those kind of workbench casters for about $60 a pair or something like that, and I did not want that. So what I chose were these retractablecaster.com casters, and they're about $70 a pair, and I believe they make a set that is a little bit more heavy duty for $90 a pair, or not a pair, a set. These are all for a set, not pair. But I didn't want the big ones because they would stick out the sides and I would trip over them. The legs on the bench are pushed out to the edges, and I think if I had those casters hanging off, they'd be hanging off. I already have a similar thing on my drill press that I'm probably showing a picture of right now. It sticks off the front and it annoys me to no end because every time I'm standing at my drill press I kick it. So this, the one issue I had when I went to install them, as I'm looking at the camera right now, it is sitting in front of a pair of doors that lead to a stairwell from the outside down into my basement shop. That stairwell has a drain at the bottom, and that drain clogs and water runs in, and the first thing that water gets to is this bench. So over the years it's sat in some water occasionally when I haven't paid enough attention, and it's probably sat here for a few days in water before. And I basically just use yellow glue on it. So first thing it needs is some repairs, and then we'll get to installing the casters, which I did a little overkill on that as well. So I wanted to be able to just quickly move this thing. It doesn't have to be real heavy duty, because I'm just going to be pushing it out of the way. I'm not going to be using it up on wheels. It's just going to be when the bench is basically empty, pushing it out of the way. So I found this retractable caster company. This is what I got. They give you all the screws and everything you need to screw it onto something. And here's what one of the casters looks like. And from what I can tell, it's a little bit magic. You pull this piece off, this red piece here, off. Once the caster is mounted up against the floor, and then when you lift the bench, it'll stay up, and then when you lift the bench again, it'll go back down. So I'm looking forward to trying these things out, seeing how they work. I believe they can hold something like 500 pounds. All right, here's one of the legs, or one of the feet, I guess, on my workbench. Each side matches. This is the side that has taken the most water. The water flows over in that direction. And if you're looking carefully at it, you'll see already the problem is that this piece here just sort of comes off. The glue gave it up. There's some spiders in there. The glue gave it up from being soaked in water for too much time. And fortunately, if we look at the other side, when I glued these things up, you can see right there, right here, that I used 2 screws there. So what I'm going to do is put some probably epoxy in there to hold everything together, clamp it up, throw a bunch of screws in the back of each. I'm going to lay the bench down to do that. So here's the other side, the good side, and you can see there's a pretty good gap. It's developed over the years here, so the glue clearly isn't holding very well. So I'm just going to give it a few taps here and see if it wants to go anywhere. Oh, it does. It wants to come off. It's not much better off than the other one. Okay, so that answers that question. That'll make that easy. Same repair on both sides then. Once I scraped all the old glue off of the glue joints and cleaned off any of the mold or mildew that was on the bottom of those legs, I got to work drilling some new holes for some screws that are going to hold this together for the long term. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix up some epoxy and slather it all over these things and put them back together. I've straightened out most of the water problems that affect the shop, and I plan on doing a whole series on having a basement shop. It'll probably be a 2 or 3 part video series. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. I'll be talking about water problems, humidity problems, even sound for the rest of the house. So if you have any other basement issues, let me know in the comments and I'll get to that as well. Thanks. As you can tell by watching this hickory is really hard. Getting these screws in and out, I'm kind of using the screw gun to create threads and then re-threading it back onto there. Now that I have the bench legs repaired, I need to attach the wheels to it. If you look at this as being the floor, the wheel kind of goes there, and you can see that that's not going to work so well. 2 of the bolts maybe will fit in there, 2 of the screws. Maybe I can get a 3rd over there and the other one will be out, so I need to do something to fill in part of this square here. And I have some 1/4-inch aluminum plate that I think I'm going to use right here. And it's got a blue paper cover, blue plastic covering on it. I think I'm going to put it in sort of like that. Then I'll bolt the wheel to that, and then I will screw that to the bench. It'll go sort of like that. I'll put a screw here, 2 screws there. I'll probably cut a little of that off and round it over. Have a nice little plate that makes a nice solid mount for the wheel. So off camera I made a bunch of aluminum plates to mount these wheels to. So as you can see, I drilled 4 holes for the wheel that I countersunk. It'll go like that, and then this whole thing will bolt on to these countersunk holes that will bolt to the bench. A little bit of a overkill, but I had some aluminum around. I did some messing around with trying to make a brushed aluminum look, and I was just doing that for fun. I'll show you what I did here. I wound up making this piece of sandpaper with a little fence on the side, and I would take this and put it against the fence, pull it back so that I'd get nice straight. It's still not very even. I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I tried 2 or 3 different things. This is the closest thing to making a reasonable solution, but I still, you can sort of see here, I don't know if you can see it, I'll try to flash the light around a little bit here and there. But you can see there's things that happen and little scratches that occur, and there's places that it goes off. I'm not quite sure how to get it right. When I built the plates, aluminum is easy. I've demonstrated it in other videos. I just used my miter saw to cut the thing up. Used my sander to round it over. Each plate was exactly the same hole pattern, but they're flipped 180 from each other, so I did the countersinks on the opposite sides of 2 different plates. I'm using a self-centering bit now to mark the hole locations for where I'm going to mount the plate. It's a bit of a hassle because the quarters are very tight to get to. So you can see here I'm using an offset drill to drill the first hole, and that only goes to a certain depth. So I actually used a shorter screw in that hole than I'm going to use in the bottom holes, where I can use a longer drill bit. There we go. And once you install it, you pull off this little plastic piece and it's ready to go. Alright, let's check this thing out, see how it works. This is the first time I've tried to get the whole thing off. The way these wheels work is you lift the bench up and set it back down. And lift the other side up. You can hear them kind of go whoop. Now it should be mobile. Yeah, there you go. Not bad. And when you want to put it back down, you do the same thing. Lift it up. Oh, I got one down. Alright. Not necessarily perfect. There we go. And this side. What's it doing? Well, when you watch the video, it's pretty obvious I got the wheels out of sync, but for me, at the time, I didn't 100% realize they were out of sync, and I certainly didn't figure out how to get them back in sync very quickly. What's going on here? Side doesn't want to go back down. That's back. Eventually I realized that the best way to deal with it was to use those clips that came with it that clip it up, to clip one of them up, and then I can lower all the rest, and then I can pull the clip again, and they'll all get back into sync. So what I did was I put these clips on upside down, so they're sort of self-storing. And if I need to, I can reach under here, grab it. The wheel needs to be spun to be pointed that way. You can stick that in there like that, and then reset the whole thing. When I'm done, I can flip it back over, store it up top, and it works okay. I've put this thing up and down maybe 6 or 7 times since the first time that it failed. As long as I'm deliberate and I lift each end very solidly up and down on each direction, they seem to be okay. I've got to store little plastic things on the wheels so that I can keep them ready to go, but for the amount that I actually move this big bench, it's probably okay. I probably only move this thing, I don't know, a couple times a month. So it's not going to be a big deal. If it fails, I can reset them. I kind of know what I'm doing now. But the first time it was certainly painful. I've had these casters on my bench for about a year now. They are from Bennington Manufacturing, retractablecaster.com. Bennington should get retractablecasters.com also, so that I could have found it a little easier. But the ones that I have, I think are their light duty version. They were the only version available back when I bought them. They're about $70 a pair right now, and they have a slightly heavier duty version that's about $90. Not a pair, a set, a four pack. These ones hold plenty of weight, and I've definitely had my lathe and several other things on top of this bench, and had, kind of struggled to even lift the ends up. But it moved around fine. The casters track pretty well, given that it's a shop with sawdust in it, things like that. Sawdust does stick to the casters just like every other caster, so it works as well as any other caster in my shop. But it's much more convenient, easy to use, and out of the way is the most important part. The problem I have with one going up and the other not on one side has happened to me maybe 3 times over the course of the year, and that probably the bench has gone up and down 100 times during that course of the year. Because it's so nice and easy to do, I do it all the time. I used to have to shove this bench around and I hardly ever moved it. Now I just move it every day. I mean, literally like constantly. Especially shooting videos here where I stand here and do something and then I push it way back so that I'm really close to this. I don't work like that normally. Normally it's pushed forward towards the camera, but it gives me a better shot when I have the bench back here. So I just do that, and then I do the shot, and then I push it back. So it's a constant moving the bench all the time. Right now it's up in the air, I can move it around. It's about the same price as some of those casters that you can step on. I'm doing it underneath and you can't see it. But those things are obtrusive. They would have to stick out the sides of the bench, and I would probably be kicking them with the design of this bench. So I'm really happy that these fit on the inside, given that I had to make some special brackets for that to happen, but not the fault of the casters. aside from my super over-designed brackets, these things should be super easy to put on anything and work great. So I have a whole lot of cool content coming. I have some product reviews. I have some more shop updates, upgrades. I have some other good projects. And I have a new kind of segment I'm going to do, and that'll probably be next week. So if you like what I've been doing, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.